Hello my brush lads, lasses, and everybody in between. Today, I'm bringing you a new Commander deck tech in my Thank You David series, as a thank you to my friend Dave, at SugarDogster on Twitter, for all of his help in my journey to foil out my prized King Ghidorah Commander deck. Since Dave and his kids love this game so much, I've been crafting Commander decks in honor of him, his son, and his two daughters. We've already seen Mono Black Rats for Dave, and Liliana Chandra Tribal for his daughter Olivia. Today, we'll be tackling a special build for his son Gavin, who loves Ajani and Tezzeret. I hope you guys enjoy. So, looking at the two planeswalkers we're working with, we actually have access to all 5 colors thanks to Ajani being in white, green, and even red thanks to Ajani Vengeance, and Tezzeret adding blue and black. Tezzeret loves artifacts, while Ajani is all about building up wide forces and pumping them with counters and gaining life. So I decided to focus on artifact creature tokens that Ajani can pump. For a commander, we're running Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. A 5-mana 3/5, Golos searches up any land when he enters the battlefield and puts it into play tapped. We can also activate his ability for 2 and the full Wooburg to exile the top 3 cards of our library and play them this turn for free. Golos helps us on a few paths. Being an artifact lets him synergize with Tezzeret, while his ETB helps fix our mana since we'll want access to all of our colors as soon as possible. His activated ability is also a great way to cheat in some very powerful artifacts and planeswalkers onto the battlefield. Speaking of planeswalkers, let's start looking at our Ajani walkers. We have Ajani Goldmane, Ajani Steadfast, Ajani Unyielding, Ajani Vengeant, Ajani Adversary of Tyrants, Ajani Caller of the Pride, Ajani Inspiring Leader, Ajani Mentor of Heroes, Ajani Strength of the Pride, Ajani Valiant Protector, Ajani Wise Counselor, and Ajani the Great-Hearted. Ooh, that's a lot of cats. Goldmane is 4 mana for 4 loyalty, who gains you life, puts counters on every creature you control and gives them vigilance for a turn, and who can ultimate to give you an avatar token with power and toughness equal to your life total. Steadfast is another 4 mana 4 loyalty that can pump up 1 creature with +1/+1, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink until end of turn, put a +1/+1 counter on all of your creatures, and put loyalty counters on all of your other planeswalkers, and whose ultimate gives you an emblem that drops all damage dealt to you and your planeswalkers down to 1. Unyielding is 6 mana for 4 loyalty, who can put all non-land permanents in the top 3 cards of your deck into your hand, exile a creature and give its controller life equal to its power, or ultimate to put 5 +1/+1 counters on every creature we control and 5 loyalty counters on every other planeswalker we control. Vengeant is 4 mana for 3 loyalty, who can, oddly enough, lock down a permanent from untapping during the next untap step, hit any target for 3 damage and gain us 3 life, or ultimate to blow up all lands a single player controls. Maybe avoid this ultimate if the goal is for the entire table to have fun. Adversary of Tyrants returns to the trend of 4 mana for 4 loyalty and can either put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 creatures, return a creature with mana value 2 or less from our grave to the battlefield, or ultimate to give us an emblem that gives us 3 1/1 cat tokens with lifelink on our end step. Caller of the Pride is 3 mana for 4 loyalty and can put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 creature, give a creature flying and double strike until end of turn, or ultimate to give us a number of 2/2 cat creature tokens equal to our life total. Inspiring Leader is 6 mana for 5 loyalty and can gain us life and put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 creature, exile a creature and give that creature's controller 2 life, or ultimate to give all of our creatures flying and double strike until end of turn. Mentor of Heroes costs 5 mana for 4 loyalty and can distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among up to 3 of our creatures, grab us an aura, creature, or planeswalker from among the top 4 cards of our deck and add it to our hand, or ultimate to just give us 100 life. Yeah, you heard that right. Alright, home stretch, just 4 more Ajanis. Strength of the Pride is 4 mana for 5 loyalty and can gain us life equal to the amount of creatures and planeswalkers we control, make us a copy of Ajani's Pridemate, or ultimate for 0 loyalty, I might add, to exile himself and all artifacts and creatures our opponents control. That being said, this can only be activated if our life total is currently at least 15 higher than our starting life total. So, at least 55. Valiant Protector is 6 mana for 4 loyalty and can put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature, reveal cards from the top of our library until we reveal a creature to put into our hand, or ultimate to give trample and a number of +1/+1 counters to one creature we control where the number of counters is equal to our life total. I want to remind you that the previous Ajani gives us 100 life as an ultimate, so that's fun. Wise Counselor is 5 mana for 5 loyalty and can give us life for each creature we control, give all of our creatures +2/+2 until end of turn, or ultimate to put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to our life total on one creature. Finally, Great-Hearted is 4 mana for 5 loyalty and comes with the passive ability to give all of our creatures vigilance. He can also plus to gain us 3 life, or minus to put a +1/+1 counter on each of our creatures and a loyalty counter on each of our other planeswalkers. Moving on to Tezzeret, the second planeswalker showcased in the deck, we have Tezzeret the Schemer, Tezzeret the Seeker, Tezzeret Agent of Golos, Tezzeret Artifice Master, Tezzeret Cruel Machinist, Tezzeret Master of Metal, and Tezzeret Master of the Bridge. Schemer is 4 mana for 5 loyalty and can make us Ethereum tokens that can tap and sacrifice themselves to add a mana of any color to our pool. Give a creature +X/+X until end of turn, with X being the number of artifacts that we control, or ultimate to give us an emblem that turns any of our artifacts into 5/5 creatures at the start of combat on our turn. Seeker is 5 mana for 4 loyalty and can untap up to 2 artifacts, search our library for an artifact with mana value equal or less than the amount of loyalty that we paid for the ability, and put it onto the battlefield, or ultimate to turn all of our artifacts into 5/5 creatures until end of turn. Yeah, Tezzeret's a big fan of 5/5. We have not seen the last of that stat line. Agent of Golos is 4 mana for 3 loyalty and can grab us an artifact from the top 5 cards of our deck, turn an artifact into, you guessed it, a 5/5 creature, and make a player lose X life and give us X life, where X is twice the amount of artifacts we control. Artifice Master is a 5 mana, 5 loyalty walker who can make a 1/1 Flying Thopter, draw us either 1 card or 2 cards, depending on if we have 3 or more artifacts or not, or ultimate to give us an emblem that lets us search our deck for any permanent and put it into play on our end step. Cruel Machinist is a 6 mana 4 loyalty walker that can draw us a card, turn an artifact we control into a big surprise 5/5 until end of turn, or ultimate to let us put any number of cards from our hand onto the battlefield face down as, guess what, 5/5 artifact creatures. Master of Metal is 6 mana for 5 loyalty and can reveal cards from our library until we reveal an artifact to add to our hand, make an opponent lose life equal to how many artifacts we control, or ultimate to just give us control of all creatures and artifacts a player controls forever. Those are ours now. Our final Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, comes with the passive that all of our creatures and planeswalkers that we have affinity for artifacts, making them each cost 1 generic mana less to cast for each artifact that we control. He can also make every opponent lose X life and gain us X life, where X is the amount of artifacts that we control. Return an artifact from our grave to our hand, or ultimate to exile the top 10 cards of our library and put all of the artifacts we exile this way into play. Moving on to our creatures, we tried to focus on cards that gave us artifact creature tokens when they entered the battlefield or died. Ancient Stone Idol is a 12/12 that leaves behind a 6/12 when it dies. Angel of Invention can either make itself a 4/3 on entering the battlefield, or keep itself a 2/1 and make 2 1/1 servos that also pumps our team by +1/+1. We also run the suite of splicers in the Blade Splicer, Master Splicer, Maul Splicer, Sensor Splicer, Vital Splicer, Wing Splicer, and the legendary Ich-Tekik Salvage Splicer. All of them make a 3/3 golem when they enter the battlefield, except for the Maul Splicer, because it makes 2 of them. And each come with a special ability meant to pump golems. Blade gives First Strike, Master gives +1/+1, Maul gives Trample, Sensor gives Vigilance, Vital can regenerate them, Wing gives Flying, and Ich-Tekik gives a +1/+1 counter to himself and every other golem we control when an artifact is put into any graveyard from the battlefield. To add to our Golem army, we also run creatures like the Phyrexian Triniform and the Triplicate Titan, who each leap behind golems when they die. Golden Guardian is another golem that has Defender and can fight creatures that we control for 2 mana. When it dies this turn after activating this ability, however, it turns into a land called the Goldforge Garrison, which can tap to add 2 mana of a single color to our pool or pump out 4/4 golem tokens. Cultivator of Blades either enters the battlefield as a 3/3 or as a 1/1 with 2 1/1 servos, and gives all other attacking creatures +X/+X when it attacks, with X being equal to its power. Hangerback Walker is a double X costed artifact creature that enters with X +1/+1 counters on it and can pay 1 and tap to add another counter to itself. When it dies, we get a number of 1/1 flying Thopters where the amount that we get is equal to the number of counters that were on the walker. Mirror Battlesphere is a 4/7 construct that makes 4 1/1 mirrors when it enters the battlefield, and when it attacks, we can tap any amount of mirror we control to give it +X/+0 until end of turn, with X being the amount of mirror that we tapped, and hit whatever player or planeswalker we are attacking for that amount of damage. Our last creature is Wormcoil Engine, a 6/6 lifelink Death Toucher that, upon death, splits into a 3/3 lifelink token and a 3/3 Death Touch token. Moving away from creatures, we have our utility artifacts. For mana ramp, we have Arcane Signet, Chromatic Lantern, Chromatic Orrery, Felwar Stone, Firemind Vessel, Gilded Lotus, Mox Amber, Skyclave Relic, and Soul Ring. Darksteel Forge gives all of our artifacts indestructible. Golem Foundry collects charge counters whenever we play artifact spells, and can turn those counters 3 at a time into 3/3 golems. Mirror Matrix is indestructible, gives all mirror +1/+1, and can spit out a 1/1 mirror token for 5 generic mana. Our last artifact is Mirror Turbine, which can tap to make a 1/1 mirror, or tap alongside 5 untapped mirror to let us search our library for a mirror and put it into play. Our arsenal of spells includes Cultivate and Kodama's Reach to help us fix our lands and ramp, Tezzeret's Ambition for card draw, Tezzeret's Betrayal for both single target removal and to find Tezzeret Master of Metal, and Tezzeret's Gambit to draw cards and proliferate our planeswalkers and +1/+1 counters. For enchantments, we have Ajani's Aid, which both searches for Ajani Valiant Protector and can sacrifice itself to prevent all combat damage from one creature. Efficient Construction makes 1/1 Thopters every time we cast an artifact spell. Hammer of Perforos gives all of our creatures haste and can sacrifice lands to turn them into golems, and Oath of Ajani puts a +1/+1 counter on each of our creatures when it ETBs, and reduces our planeswalker costs by 1 generic. Thopter Spy Network makes us a Thopter on our upkeep if we control an artifact, and draws us a card when one or more of our artifact creatures deal combat damage to a player. Tezzeret's Touch turns an artifact into a, "Hey, did you think that we were done?" 5/5, and returns that artifact to our hand when it is put into the graveyard. Our last non-land card is Mirrodin Besieged, which lets us choose Mirrodin or Phyrexian when it enters the battlefield. If we choose Mirrodin, we get a 1/1 mirror every time we cast an artifact spell. And if we choose Phyrexian, we draw and discard a card on all of our end steps, then make an opponent lose the game if we have 15 or more artifacts in our graveyard. Our land base is both simple and complex at the same time, since we're trying to have any and all colors available to us to make the best use of our colored spells, and we have 5 colors we have to work with. We run all 10 Shocklands in Blood Crypt, Breeding Pool, Godless Shrine, Hollowed Fountain, Overgrown Tomb, Sacred Foundry, Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, Temple Garden, and Watery Grave. With all the life that our Ajani Planeswalkers gain us, paying to have these enter untapped shouldn't be an issue. We also run the 10 Battle Bond lands that enter untapped if we have 2 or more opponents. These are Bountiful Promenade, Luxury Suite, Morphic Pool, Rejuvenating Springs, Sea of Clouds, Spectator Seating, Spire Garden, Training Center, Undergrowth Stadium, and Vault of Champions. For access to all 5 of our colors, we've got the World Tree, though only if we have 6 or more lands, Spire of Industry, only if we have an artifact, Mana Confluence, Glimmer Void, Forbidden Orchard, Exotic Orchard, Command Tower, and City of Brass. We also run Ancient Tomb, since we'll be gaining tons of life anyway. Top things off with 2 of each basic land type, and we're ready to go! Thank you all for listening to my take on an Ajani and Tezzeret themed commander deck. With a little effort, these two unorthodox companions come together to make something that I think should be real fun to pilot. Be sure to keep an eye out in a few weeks for the final deck in this mini Thank You Dave series, where I tackle combining dinosaurs and unicorns. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so that you never miss an upload. Later, Planeswalkers!